Hello and welcome to another edition of Sportsnet's NHL Power Rankings. Nick Alberga joined alongside Rory Boylen on Twitter at the Golden Muzzy at Rory Boylen. And I was looking at sportsnet.ca this week. Your apology tour is underway, Rory?
Apparently. The theme this week for the Power Rankings that I wrote was the apology edition. So every team got some kind of an apology, and I thought it was funny that one Blackhawks fan in particular didn't think my ranking of the team was high enough yet. And so he noted that my apology tour should still be going on. I'm not done with the apologies yet. So maybe we can address the Chicago Blackhawks on today's Tiers episode.
Yeah, that's the one thing they do at Sportsnet when we work there. They say, go check the mentions of everything on YouTube and the comments in sport. They're tremendous. No sarcasm in my voice. Well, no apologies for teams in the Owen Power contenders tier, Rory, and that's where we'll start. I like your placement of Nashville. They're stinking up the joint as we speak. They've dropped 7 of the last 9. You can touch on Buffalo and San Jose if you'd like as well.
Yeah, Nashville, I mean, they still haven't beat, like last week, and they haven't played these teams, but they still haven't beat Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Dallas in that division. And since last week, they split with Detroit, and they got shut out by Columbus. So they're just, I mean, what is separating them from Detroit, from Ottawa, really, at this point? Their special teams are just an absolute disaster. They're the third worst team in goal differential in the entire league, just ahead of Detroit and ahead of Ottawa. So, anybody who thinks they shouldn't be here, I just ask, why not? You look at the roster and they shouldn't be, really. And now there's questions about David Poile. What is he going to be able to do? How secure is his job? And all of that stuff, which is just, it's almost blasphemous, right? How did it get to this point from Nashville? But this is just the reality of the situation. This is where they are right now. And I feel I do have to touch on Buffalo because I really want this to work. I think a lot of people want them to get going. It's nice when Buffalo is a good, relevant team, especially in normal times with Toronto doing what they're doing. Just the division would be better, the geographic rivalry. And they made moves to try and get better this offseason, and it's the same stuff. Jack Eichel and Taylor Hall have combined for 3 goals on the year, and now they're just coming back from their COVID break. They've lost 3 games in a row, 2 goals in those 3 games to show for it. And now here we go again with questions on what is Jack Eichel's future? Is it going to get to a point where he asks for a trade out? Do we get to a spot where Taylor Hall becomes someone that they have to move before the trade deadline? I know there are reports out there that maybe he's interested in re-signing with this team, but I mean, if he wants to play in playoff games, it doesn't seem like this is the place to do it. It's just sad, but Buffalo is this same team that they've been for this whole rebuild. Nothing has changed, and so they belong in this lowest tier.
I may have accidentally got Jack Eichel trending, but not really accidentally, Rory. We move to the Mendoza line. Perfect. The Los Angeles Kings. How do you feel about that team right now?
I mean, not great, right? But they moved up a tier this week. I just thought they deserved the nod. They got three wins in a row here. They got points in each of their last 4 games, and they just, they got 2 points out of they are 2 points out of a playoff spot behind Arizona right now. And Arizona is a team that's a tier up here in this tier as well. And I felt like LA need to be moved up into that same tier as Arizona. Like, there's not enough separating them. I don't feel great about either team. They're a little inconsistent, got a lot of weaknesses in normal times. Are either of them really pushing for a playoff spot? I don't know. I find that hard to believe. Even Jonathan Quick has been starting to play a little bit better for the Kings here.
I know.
He's got a couple nice starts, which, we'll see how long that's going to last. I think eventually this lands on Cal Peterson being the guy that needs to get more starts. But things are just going better for LA. So I thought they needed to be separated from Anaheim, from San Jose, from these other teams that are struggling in their division, and give them a nod for the good hockey that they've been playing recently.
I'm still having a tough time figuring out how they passed on that Tim Stützle guy, but we'll leave it at that. Prove me wrong. Chicago moves up. New Jersey moves up. What do you make of those 2 teams right now?
Chicago, I mean, I just can't fully buy into this team, but what are they? Like, what is going on here?
Their
Kevin
hockey team
Lankinen is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, nod to Pius Suter, too, has been moving into this top-line center role, which nobody saw coming. Alex DeBrincat's been having a really nice bounce-back season with 9 goals in 14 games, and I mean, Patrick Kane's got to be the quietest top 5 scorer in the league right now. Does anybody realize he's fifth in scoring? It's amazing. They're 7-1-1 in their last 9 games. And again, like, we'll see how long they can keep this going for. There's a lot of defensive issues still with this team that followed them from last year, but they're winning games. So they need to be given this credit. And kind of the same with New Jersey, where they came back off of a bit of a COVID break too. And they're just on a nice run. And I think another nice story here that we just haven't seen a lot of because of COVID interruptions is Mackenzie Blackwood very quickly becoming one of these top goalies in the league. Only 5 games he's played so far this year, but he's 4-0-1, 194 GAA, 945 save percentage. And like, New Jersey's not perfect. They too have defensive lapses, but Blackwood is a guy that seems like almost like Connor Hellebuck, if he's able to make it stick, that he might be able to raise this team and make New Jersey more than maybe what they should be and keep them in the running for a playoff spot longer. Will they end up there? We'll see, but they have a lot more sticking power than it looked like they would because of the goalie, I think.
Surprise, surprise, Lindy Ruff has done an exceptional job so far with that team. Last but not least, we should mention, as you see on your screen, the True Cup contenders pretty much stays the same. So we're going to go to the on the cusp tier, and a team you certainly follow really, really closely. I don't know what cusp they're on. I don't know if I'm a believer. I just can't really figure out how they go into the Stanley Cup playoffs. You know, we think they're going to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they're atop their division right now. But Chris Driedger, Sergei Bobrovsky, I'll take C, please.
Yeah, you know, I write like little 1-line notes as what I'm thinking as I'm doing these. And the one I wrote beside Florida here was, this is the most ridiculous thing I've done on these. Because, I mean, come on. Are we really believing Florida is a top-tier team? Probably not. But when we were ranking them lower earlier in the season, the point I was making was all these wins are coming up against the soft touches in their division. Now they've gone 2-1 against Tampa Bay. They've beaten Carolina in overtime on the road. So we've got to start giving them some credit here. They're leading their division in both points and points percentage. Jonathan Huberdeau is having an absolutely monster season. You mentioned the situation in net. Like, I would feel way better about Florida being in this category if it was Sergei Bobrovsky who was playing well for them and not the, what is he, $750,000, $800,000 goalie, Chris Driedger. How long is that going to stick? You think Bobrovsky has to turn around, but I will say the major positive for the Florida Panthers is that they were one of the worst teams in scoring chances per game last season, and they're among the better ones in the league right now. So that is a very notable improvement that makes me think they're probably not going to be a cup contender, but they could be that team that kind of comes out of left field this year and surprises us with the fact that they're better than everybody thought they would be.
2 words, Sasha Harkov. I know everybody's beating the Huberdeau drum, but Barkov's been tremendous. Roy, thanks so much for this.
Thanks, Nick. Talk to you next week.
There you have it. That's Rory Boylen. I'm Nick Alberga on Twitter, @the Golden Muzzy, @Rory Boylen. It's been another edition of Sportsnet's NHL Power Rankings.